Now, I know it may be a little bit late, and this goes back to about 2012. Now, what I'm going to say in no shape or form is my support for the Herman Cain candidacy running as a Republican in 2012 for the nomination, but I think it's very relevant in what's going on today. Now, Herman Cain, I guess former executive of Godfather Pizza and some other business ventures, he threw his hat in the race in 2012 seeking the Republican nomination. And I think there was some very genuine support for his candidacy, and not just under the Afro conservatives that may be in this nation or Republicans, but even amongst the Creole Germanic European descendants that are here that identify as conservative or Republican or right wing. There was a lot of guys of that group, males particularly, who came to me. I don't know, I guess they just wanted to share this with me or something, but they came to me and they said, oh yeah, I like Herman Cain. Out of all the rest of these guys, he makes the most sense. Now, even though both of these two individuals have business and corporate and board member backgrounds, one of the biggest issues everyone was talking about that Mitt Romney had was that he couldn't connect, he couldn't relate, he was out of touch because he was so wealthy. And we see all this coming into play now with 45 in office, because Romney was easily painted as the evil, rich, greedy, corporate, private equity firm guy who rapes these companies. They go through bankruptcy, they take the assets, and then they send the jobs overseas into foreign countries. And some of that is fair, some of it is unfair. But Herman Cain, being a business guy, he never really got that type of a branding on him like Mitt Romney did. And I guess because he's I'm going to use this term kind of loosely, because he's a brother, I guess a lot of those people maybe didn't see him quite that same way as they would look at Mitt Romney, having that, giving him that kind of power, that kind of credit, or to paint him as that type of a villain. Now, there wasn't really that strong of a front runner if you looked at a lot of the polls in 2012. And Herman Cain and the rest of these other candidates were holding their own. Now, it was said on the campaign that Mitt Romney was the one who was running most of all these negative attack, opposition research, hit piece ads against the other candidates in the field. And he never owned up to it. Now, ultimately, the thing that killed Herman Cain in the primaries was when a number of these pale-faced women came forward and said that there was some type of sexual encounter. There was like 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And he tried to hold on. He tried to deny it. He fired back at the media. He said it was a bunch of mess. I don't think he ever really pointed the finger at Mitt Romney, but he tried to survive. He tried to hang on, and he couldn't. And eventually, he ended up dropping out. And notice that even amongst these individuals who would identify as conservative or Republican or right wing, now we may never know how far he could have gone, especially in these establishment contests. But I think it's pretty interesting that it seemed like he had some genuine support from the beat that I could get on the matter. But when the accusations were thrown out there with not really any evidence that he was involved with these women, ultimately that's what did him in, and he had to drop out. So now in the climate that we're in right now, with everything that's going on with this Me Too movement and Time's Up, and how, like brother Harvey in Chicago, Superman 222, 223, shout out to him, has called it, with all of these other pale-faced guys getting under the rap, eventually they were going to have to throw it our way because there was too many of them getting caught up into the probe. And that's what took Herman Cain down, I believe. That it was fine for him to be a conservative or Republican. It was fine for him to talk about these policies and identify the way that they do and be a like-minded individual. But as soon as it was thrown out there that he had been with these women, you know, his candidacy was over. And sex against us, the brothers, is the weapon of choice. They've done it over the years, you know, with Emmett Till, with what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with what happened with a lot of these quote-unquote black towns. This is how they gave some kind of legitimacy to attack our communities, claiming that a brother had mishandled or sexually attacked one of their pedestal women. Okay? So we know that this is the game that they play. So just be on guard. Make very wise choices. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in those things. You know, I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I always guard myself regardless who the woman may be. But especially with those women, you know the additional dangers that can come with that situation. So sex is definitely one of their greatest weapons of choice.